Holy two-sided cliffhanger, Batman. Tiki here, and I've finally made it to Season 3 of Batman the Animated Series, going through each episode for the first time and giving my first reactions along the way.
That's right, folks. See, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way.
And tonight, we're talking about the Season 3 premiere, Shadow of a Bat Part 1. Oh my god, it's Batgirl! Alright. Hey, Dragon. How the heck are you tonight?
I'm doing good. We're finally broaching Season 3, which has a number of really interesting... This is where things really get... We go really...
I must admit, I was kind of spoiling myself for what's coming next, and, kind of peruse, because I did buy all the episodes off Amazon for $20. I thought that was a good deal. $20 for 29 episodes when they would usually be a few bucks a pop, so... Anyways, they've got a couple in particular that I'm really looking forward to. I'm just going to go out and say it. I think the most anticipated episode for me this season is going to be Baby Doll.
Oh, yeah. Well, my most anticipated is coming up really soon. My favorite of Season 3. We're getting really close to it. After we get past this two-parter, the next two-parter is the one I'm super eager to get to.
Nice.
That's the thing. Season 3, the big thing to tout up. Season 3, very comic book heavy season. That's where things get really good.
Yeah, it seems like there's going to be a little bit more of a continuity. Am I correct in that? With I'm assuming that Batgirl is going to be like a regular player now after this first two-parter.
She'll come back, but she really becomes a regular once we get to the revamp. Once we get to season 4, then she's a regular. But until that point, she'll pop in.
Kind of like how Robin was in the first couple seasons, where he pops up here and there.
Exactly, basically, believe it or not, Tiki, Season 3, we're going to reach a point. We haven't gotten to it yet. We're going to reach a point where Season 3 begins to splinter off into a new, kind of another show before we get to the revamp, to the Batman Robin adventures. So we're not there yet, but we'll get there soon. It kind of muddies the waters a little bit in the kind of the branding, but essentially it's all within just a third season of the animated series. So I don't want to worry the semantics yet.
Paige isn't happy, Dragon. Paige isn't happy.
Oh, I know Paige isn't happy. I mean, I don't have to tell her.
But the waters?
Muddying the waters.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, so Dragon, this was written and directed by a couple of people. We might have seen them before. I didn't recognize the names right off the bat, so why don't you set the stage there?
All right, so again, it's also Shadow of the Bat.
Oh, what did I say?
Shadow of a Bat.
Did I say Shadow of a Bat? Really?
Yes.
My bad.
Okay, anyway, so A to these aside here. So the director was good old Frank Parr. Frank Parr, he's done some things that have kind of marred his name, like Prophecy of Doom. But on the plus, let's focus on the positives here, folks. Let's not curse the darkness. Man responsible for Paige and the Crime Doctor, and one of your favorites, Birds of a Feather.
Oh, okay. So we've seen him recently. My bad for not recognizing his name right away.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've seen a number of Parr's things. I always kind of talk up Frank Parr, of course, for the reason I love Deadpool, because he directed Hulk vs. Wolverine, which is huge for me. And writer, now we've all seen the writer on this, Bryony Stevens, Bryony, good old Bryony. So Bryony did the two-parter from Season 2, Heart of Steel. Now, Heart of Steel, of course, was the introduction of Barbara Gordon.
Sure, yeah, okay.
Also, Birds of a Feather. So it's kind of a director-writing pair. They've worked together before, I believe. I think she had a little bit of hands on Crime Doctor. I can't fully recall. I think so, because basically there's a lot of pair-ups here where we then get to the animation studio. And oh boy, we're in for a treat with the animation studio here. Just you wait.
Is it Don Yang?
Yes, it is Dong Yang. It's Dong Yang in the house studio, which there is kind of an arc to Season 3. Basically, Dong Yang kind of takes over Season 3 as a whole, almost. I mean, there are a few exceptions. If you look really closely, you measure this season versus Season 2. I think in Season 2 we get a few splices, like different animation studios and their takes on Batman. Season 3 kind of shapes up to be, we're trying to get like a very consistent, like one version of a Batman, ideally. And you'll notice Batman gets a little boxy. and not in a negative way. I'm saying he gets like very consistent in the third season. It's kind of this. They kind of settle on kind of this boxier sort of, kind of like streamlined Batman. They're kind of
Almost
slowly
kind
but
of
surely.
like more of an instant silhouette kind of look.
Exactly. They're basically over time. They're slowly but surely. By the time we get to the revamp, we're starting to streamline things as much as we can, so we can avoid off-model stuff.
Mhm.
And this is kind of like the perfect balance in between, kind of your really artful, kind of like, depending on the studio, again, like a Spectrum or so of a Batman, versus versus kind of like just the revamp of Batman entirely, where we just want to make it in the Superman style. So this is like kind of the grand midpoint of Batman we're at right now. So here's what makes this episode really special. So remember in Harley and Ivy when I told you we had two animation studios? We have the studio that's kind of doing the share of the animation, and we have the studio doing the layouts, which kind of guides the animation with TMS.
Yeah.
So we had the Harley and Ivy. So here, Dong Yang, who, of course, just to kind of give you some two-parter experience, they had Two-Face Part 2, and the Crime Doctor. And the studio, the layouts on this, coming back from the grave, folks, and I'm so darn happy about it. Spectrum!
Oh my God!
So it was
They're
great.
back.
Yeah, now, again, not back doing the main animation. I don't know.
Yeah, but still, just them stepping into the ring at all is exciting news.
And I'll remind the folks, this pairing of Dong Yang and Spectrum doing the layouts, that's Mask of the Phantasm right there.
Dong Yang is here, and Spectrum is also coming to play, as you would say. I don't know.
Well, Dong Yang, when Spectrum's away, Dong Yang's here to play.
Yeah, that's not nearly... Anyways.
Okay, point being...
So Spectrum's just like, hey, let's have a big party!
Yeah.
Alright, sorry.
Anyway, point being, this is like the exact pairing we had on Phantasm. That's why the animation looks as good as it does in this episode. So, oh my goodness, really good stuff. They're starting season 3 off right, and I'm so thrilled.
Yeah, definitely. The shadows, the like you said, the silhouette work with Batman, it all comes together. Really good lighting.
Yeah. Let's see.
Very good stuff.
Not a whole lot of context in terms of our story here. Just there's this is not only the debut of Batgirl properly in the suit and everything. We had established Barbara Gordon going back to Heart of Steel, which then got us to one of my favorites, I Am the Knight, which of course had the big kind of like saving the Gordon family moment in the climax, which I'm always down for. Going a la year one, I'm always down for that. So again, it's kind of evolution of the Barbara character, but also Two-Face. This is his big return outside of ensemble pieces, because we've seen Two-Face pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's popped up.
This is definitely in his ensemble pieces. He really hasn't had that same sort of like gravitas that he has here. So this really is kind of like part 2 of the Two-Face story, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and remember, what's really cool, too, is a Two-Face, he was first appeared in a two-parter, and yet again, he makes his grand return also in a two-parter, which is quite neat.
And a two-parter that's, like, he first appeared very early on in Season 1, not quite at the beginning, but pretty early on in the run.
Yeah.
And then here he is at the beginning of Season 3. Bookends, folks, gotta love him.
I mean, if you want to be technical, Harvey Dent is in the first episode. He's in On Leather Wings, so...
That's true. All right.
Anyway, okay, so all that's all the context we need here. Batgirl, man, let's talk about it. So, let's go to the warehouse. We always have to go to a warehouse.
Of course. Why wouldn't we go to a warehouse?
It's Gotham.
God. I must say, I think Gotham, the show, did that much more than the animated series did. I mean, the animated series, at the very least, had distinguishable warehouses. I feel like Gotham maybe cheated and did the same sets over and over again, perhaps, and just dressed them up differently.
I could believe that. There's only so many warehouse locations in New York,
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
All right, so we're in the midst of kind of like a heist, kind of picking up a shipment on the down low at a warehouse here, and I love the atmosphere we build up here. And again, this is the basic Act 1 of this whole warehouse sequence, this whole opening warehouse thing with Rupert Thorne. This feels so much like a scene like with the gangsters from Mask of the Phantasm. I'm so giddy about it when I was rewatching. Like, oh man, it looks so cool. Look at those layouts. Oh boy.
Yeah, I have written down in my note it's basically Batman shadow porn.
Well, now you made it dirty, but yes. Anyway, so but I'm saying like have like a bat flying through the warehouse as well.
Yeah, right.
Like
right.
those little the atmospheric details.
It does a really good job of the atmosphere for sure.
does. And like the men are asking, like, why are we doing this at night? Why can't we ever do it in the daytime? And Rupert Thorne enters, and he says, "What, in broad daylight, when the cops might notice?"
It's like the total inverse of the Dark Knight Dragon.
That it is. So let's see. So of course, Rupert Thorne picked the wrong night to get cocky and oversee a shipment on his own, knowing how often they get screwed up. See, I'm going to be there for a change, and maybe we'll see what happens. He just got really cocky. That's kind of the only explanation I have. And the episode's not fully perfect, folks. I mean, there are a few holes in it. Why would Rupert Thorne risk just seeing the shipment himself? Well, we need it for plot reasons. We need him there so we can get pinched.
You know what? Yeah, he shouldn't be there himself physically, but I can excuse that just because he's a good presence and good continuity. And also, Dragon, I just want to point out, one of the things that I really like about this two-parter is the fact that it is kind of like it's kind of a crime saga, Dragon. I mean, it's not like a Breaking Bad Albuquerque versus crime saga, but, I do like how there's a lot of moving parts at play, and I would describe episode 1 as a chess piece episode, but a really, really good chess piece episode, a really compelling, I've made this analogy before, but it's like a Bobby Fischer game of chess, it's like, it's moving chess pieces around, but it's doing that in a really compelling way.
Well, actually, there's actually a traditionally animated series that show a lot of love to, the Godfathers, kind of the perennial classics of before.
Sure,
and believe it or not, there is a very specific movie I'm convinced that they're referencing at a few points in this episode, just tonally, I guess, in the overall, but kind of the main story, the kind of the main frame-up of it all, The Untouchables. There's a lot of Untouchables in this episode.
Okay.
There's a very on-the-nose Untouchables reference later on, but basically, we'll get to the Untouchables of it all right now. But let's just say, for first one off here, Rupert Thorne's in kind of like the Al Capone sort of space right now in terms of the Untouchables of it all for the moment. He's kind of guy on the scene, really cocky. He kind of has the overcoat, a little Capone-esque. Anyway, let's see. So, point being, Rupert Thorne, my logic, he's just getting cocky. He wants to be there on the scene. And we have this fun runner, I never liked this place. Yeah, never liked this place. We reveal the GCPD has set up a sting operation via a mystery tip-off that we're going to kind of spend a little focus on a little later on. Rupert Thorne, he cannot be seen because up to this point, Rupert Thorne, he's been untouched by the law, which has been kind of the runner, which is what drove Harvey Dent off the deep end, and the fact that he couldn't get Thorne. So Thorne, at this point, has never been officially tied to anything. He's on the scene, which is bad for him, so he makes for the door while his men have a standoff with the police. The GCPD storm the warehouse, awesomely with their giant ram on wheels. I love it when they break out the ram on wheels. It's so cool. It is.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just futuristic enough to be, to kind of lay in that retro future world that this show establishes.
Yeah.
But still, it's very real world as well. It's a good mix of the two.
Oh yeah. All right, so we got a little shootout here as Rupert Thorne is on the rooftop, kind of looking down as his men are being arrested. I never liked this place. So the great John Vernon, everybody.
It's pretty much this episode's equivalent of I have a bad feeling about this.
That it is. So importantly, we are introduced to a new character amidst all of this, Gil Mason.
Yep. And Gil Mason, Dragon, I will say, he does a good job of being a foil throughout this episode. I assume he's a one and done.
Here's the thing, he is a one and done. This is the Untouchables of it all right now. He is like Elliot Ness in the Untouchables. Basically, the Kevin Costner character in the lead, Kevin Costner, kind of the incorruptible sort of guy trying to form kind of a squad to take down Al Capone. And basically, the guy taking out all the big kingpins here. It's essentially what his roles, and even dresses like him. The long overcoat and the hat, the whole thing. Anyway,
sure.
So the point being, we have the deputy commissioner. It's so funny. Years later, we've kind of done a few things like this in the comics, possibly inspired by this. Because I talked to one of the writers. There was an event called Batman Eternal, which they celebrate 75 years of Batman with kind of this year-long 52 issue spanning event where a whole bunch of stuff went down, and basically Batman's kind of dealing with the ramifications of this, and Commissioner Gordon gets ousted as commissioner. We bring on this new young hotshot to take his place, and much like this, there's some shady stuff going on with the young hotshot who took his place. So that's why, again, I assume we're maybe pulling from that. I talked to James Tynion, and James Tynion, he he loved the animated series, so I wonder, they had like a whole bunch of writers kind of do a powwow with Scott Snyder leading the charge, and perhaps Tinian was like, hey, I love this episode from Batman animated series. Maybe we can pull a few details from that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's entirely possible. Anywho, sorry, so, police shootout, Rupert Thorne's on the rooftop, which then leads to some very phantasmy events, very Spectrum-inspired events, so, Rupert Thorne is not alone on this rooftop.
And this is what I'm saying with the shadow porn, Dragon. The shadow porn. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep saying it because I feel like it's an accurate descriptor here.
So, of course, it's not even that, it's the stealthiness too, where it's just going around before.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And of course, Rupert Thorne here kind of making a last stand here. Like, you're not taking me down without a fight. If you want to go, if I'm going to go down, I'm taking you with me. And also, thing to note here, as we're drifting in from Season 3 and getting to Season 4, the sensors are lightening up more on Batman, because we get a lot of handguns in this episode, which traditionally we're kind of verboten from. Like, if anyone holds a handgun, you can't go off, because it's imitatable.
Right.
But again, they're loosening up to the point where we get to next season where there's not even a care in the world with it next season. So I think it's kind of, we're slowly but surely getting there and kind of coming off Phantasm a little bit, where we got away with in the movie because, we're out of the series, not on Saturday morning television.
Yeah, and I mean, there is just copious amounts of gunfire in this two-parter, Dragon. And honestly, I'm just going to be blunt with you. There's a little bit of a stormtrooper thing going on here.
Yeah, there is. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's just like, okay, there's sure. It's like there's a lot of gunfire going off with not a lot of casualties.
But again, I'm sure.
I mean, even just one hit from someone. I know. I get it. Yeah. Like,
I saw that.
I'm sure it would have been I'm sure it would have been a bad thing with the censors if Batgirl would have actually gotten shot, even if it was just like a nick or something, right?
So you did to the last member of the Gordon family in the night episode.
Oh God!
Why? Okay, I'll give you all the guns you want, but no one gets hit. You believe me? No one gets hit.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Fair enough. Anyways,
but again,
sorry.
We'll loosen up on all of that in the next season, so that's where that goes. All right. So, anyways, we have the money shot here of like Batman in between like kind of the pieces on the rooftop here, and it's like this kind of this is where you get the really great shadow shot here, where he's just like you see him like glaring at Rupert Thorne, and then basically Rupert Thorne's trying to fire at him, Batman just disappears, and then he then he drops down off. Have this really money shot here. He just drops down on Rupert Thorne. We even see what happens again, kind of all of the opening of the series. GCP here on the rooftop, and then here's where we properly meet Gil Mason. Here, where he's a deputy commissioner, Gil Mason. Like, hey, easy, Gil.
You know what's interesting about Gil Mason is I feel like right from the start when he showed up on the scene, I kind of have in my notes like this guy feels like another Harvey Dent. Just in the sense of like, here we have another like young altruistic sort of guy who clearly has some ulterior motives at hand.
Oh yeah. Also, definitely a Nolan vibe in there too. Very dark.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, kind of goes hand in hand with the Harvey Dent sort of parable. All right, so they tell him like, "Hey, Rupert Thorne, step out into the open," and says, "Not even if I could, Flatfoot." And we reveal, Rupert Thorne hanging upside down. Then, oh boy, I love me some Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon. I love it when he goes. Don't you just love it when he gift wraps them for you? When he gives them to you, gift wraps. That's my gag. Love it.
But on a rewatch, it's kind of like a little bit of a, oh boy, it's like the last joke that Gordon gets to make before all hell starts to break loose with him. There's danger looming on the horizon, like he's in such a happy-go-lucky mood, and then, yeah.
Let's see. So then we have some Summer Gleason exposition along with this. Basically, Bruce Wayne flipping through the news channels here. We learn that Rupert Thorne was arrested, and you're going to see Rupert Thorne again going forward. And again, they don't really speak to this, the fallout of this, but I think the headcanon for me was always that Rupert Thorne, this is the first time he was ever publicly taken down, and basically going forward, when we see Rupert Thorne, like he's no longer the legitimate businessman that he'd get away with before. As in, like he's around, he's a crime boss, and people know, okay crime bosses, and if he rears his head, he's probably some like lawyers probably got him out of the jam, but no more of the legitimacy he once had, I imagine.
Gotcha.
All right, and of course, all of this thanks to a mystery informant, it's like the third, kind of drug king, basically, kind of criminal kingpin in Gotham, taken down thanks to information from this mysterious informant.
Ooh.
We have Gil here. Gil, by the way, voiced by I always talk of John Vernon, who of course very famous for Animal House. We have another Animal House alumni as Gil Mason. Gil Mason is voiced by Tim Matheson, who was one of the stars of Animal House, one of the main guys in that movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Little fun fact. All right. So, the real Bruce Wayne channel surfing through all this here, and Alfred is, so I love Alfred with the channel flipping PSA. Would you like to, want to tell him that?
Oh God, I'm sorry, I don't have it like word for word, but he says something about like, oh, it's a strain for your eyesight, not to mention your attention span.
Yeah, that's the line. Again, helpful PSA from Alfred, and just taking a poke at the
I feel like in this show, Alfred is kind of like the Adam West Batman in terms of the PSAs.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So of course, Alfred then asking kind of the question of the room here. Hey, Rupert Thorne's been taken down. You wrapped up Rupert Thorne. That's good news, right? Saying like, why shouldn't the fall of Rupert Thorne bring a smile even to your face, sir? And then Bruce here says,
"Put a smile on that face."
Yeah. This is the third gang lord. He's the third gang lord in months to be taken down because of this one informant, which he calls out as he should, as that's awfully suspicious. That's a little without really the Batman's intervention within that. There's nothing off about that. And of course, Alfred saying, "Oh yes, you're right. At this rate, you might be forced to take a vacation." Which
Alfred, sassy Alfred, gotta love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hashtag sassy Alfred.
Oh yeah. Or again, like people love the Office Ladies podcast right now, and I mean, have you listened to any of it just out of curiosity?
What now? What?
The Office Ladies podcast, where it's basically the two of the women from The Office, Angela and Pam from The Office, Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey.
Oh.
They're recapping kind of like we're doing Batman right now. They recap all the episodes of The Office, but they have insider knowledge. What?
Not in character.
No,
right?
not in character. I'm just saying, but they were on the set, so they know stuff that we don't. So that's the thing. Like they have guests.
I gotta admit, Dragon, this might be heresy, but I've never been a big Office fan.
That's fair. It really went off the rails as it went through. Like once.
Yeah.
My point in bringing it up.
It had its moments for sure, but anyways. Sorry.
My point in bringing it up is that they have a runner where they have like Pam Sass or Angela Sass or like they kind of assign like something Sass. Certain
okay. So like Alfred Sass, sassy Alfred.
It's like new character, right. Then you add sass to it. That's this is kind of all the new vernacular that podcast has kind of brought everybody. It's quite fun. All right.
So meanwhile, we have a nice father-daughter bonding moment with Gordon and Barbara.
First time we've ever
Barbara's
been
doing
some
gymnastics moves.
Sorry, I was wrong.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. This is the second time we've ever been to Gordon's house. I was wrong. Hard of Steel when he got tasered. That's the first time we were there. Anyway, yes, I'm sorry.
Hey, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right. I don't know why I'm so memeable this episode. Anyways. So yes, working on some gymnastics moves, and then knock on the door, and oh look, it's our good friend Gil.
I'm sorry, real quick, I gotta interject here. There's some really fun dialogue here with Gordon and his daughter here. Because I love one, we're demonstrating Barbara's gymnastic capabilities, so we kind of sell that. Okay, well, this is how she could be able to do this stuff.
That's true. It's like the Robin Circus thing. Good call.
Exactly, because we built up in the heart of steel that she's really smart. Again, daughter of a police commissioner, she's crafty. And now we see she's physically up to the task. You can ages of gymnastics. The Gordon family has a home gym, which is again, Jim has a really nice house. Then we see the inside. I just wanted to note that. Anyway, so and of course, this is such a cute father-daughter. We're selling also the really important thing to our story here is we're selling because we don't really see Gordon's home life all that often. We see the love between a father and daughter. And it's only like the second. This is like the third time we've ever seen him with Barbara, really. So we had the whoopee of it all from Heart of Steel, which is adorable as all get out. And here we have the reciprocation here, where it's like, Dad, if you and Gil keep nabbing bad guys at this rate, people start to think you're Batman and Robin. I thought it was the cute. I was like, oh, that's so cute. So and Jim, and this is now Tiki, I only bring this up because it's gonna have a huge payoff in the second part. You got to trust me. Is that Jim says, oh yeah, Gil's a godsend, and he's not bad looking either. Essentially, hey, hint hint, he's single. I saw you two hit it off, so like I just got you to stop treating me like a kid, Dad. Now you're trying to marry me off.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, then knock at the door, and oh look, it's potential husband to be himself. It's Gil. I bet he has nothing but good news, Dragon. I love how Gordon's like so happy-go-lucky, like, oh, Gil, it's my boy. Come in.
We were just talking about you.
He doesn't actually say it's my boy, but basically he's like, yeah, we were just talking about you, Gil. Right on.
Oh boy, and this breaks my heart. This scene.
It really does, man. This is a tough watch.
And also, I mean, there's really like little moments all throughout the scene too, like when she's getting off the balance beam, Gordon's like going to help her out. She flips on her own, which is kind of symbolic of like the journey she's going to go on. She's no longer Daddy's little girl with a flip like that, and then it's like you're just taking little pieces away from Gordon throughout this whole episode. So basically, the bad news is that Gil's there to trying gently to nurture the blow that he's being arrested for accepting bribes from Rupert Thorne. And it's like one of the worst things that could ever happen to Jim Gordon, being accused of corruption, and let alone Rupert Thorne, who we just nabbed. It's like, you've been taking bribes from Rupert Thorne. And obviously, we, the audience, and I was like, heck no, that's BS.
Yeah, of course.
Never.
Right.
This is an outrage.
All right, I really like the how it focuses on Barbara. She kind of swats off, Gil when he tries to comfort her. And then I really like how it zooms in on her face and then the media just gets on her and she has to, quickly close the door. That's along with the music, that's a really dramatic way to end Act 1. I mean, come on, man. That's got to be one of the great Act 1 cliffhangers in the show, Dragon.
I believe Harvey Cohen did the score on this with Shirley Walker. She supervises all the ones that when she doesn't do an episode full on. So these are the sons and daughters of Shirley Walker, I like to call it.
The sons of Shirley.
Yeah, the sons of Shirley. Anyway, so of course, a few daughters in there too, but pretty much like the children of Shirley, like the children of Thanos. Only it's only Walker, man. Anyway, so it's really here's the thing that crushes me about this too is that Jim's like reassuring Barbara as he's being let out, like, it's all a mistake, Barbara, you'll see. And of course, like this, it's so sad giving him a perp walk, and then of course she's slamming the door on the media. But seeing Jim Gordon let off in a perp walk always breaks my heart a little bit. Like,
yeah.
And again, like years later, this is never really him being framed. Hasn't really happened since that Batman Eternal event, because essentially the big thing that kicks everything off is that Jim Gordon is framed for a crime and he's put in the prison, and essentially it's up to Batman, the whole Bat family, to try and get him out, because it kind of causes a chain reaction, which brings in kind of like the fake commissioner, let's call him, like the young hotshot who's kind of dirty the whole time. So it's a lot of interesting stuff there. And again, like throughout that whole conference, like, oh, please don't let Gordon get stabbed in prison. Don't let him get stabbed. Snyder, what are you doing to me, buddy? Anyway. Point being stakes. Okay, so in this moment really kind of lifts my heart from that sad sequence. Bruce Wayne's looking at the headline, Commissioner arrested. He says, we'll see about this. It's like, oh, not for a second is he gonna look.
Right.
That's my guy. All right.
I love the passion, Dragon.
Right. Just crumples that paper. This isn't gonna stand. I'm on it. All right, so Barbara, she's talking to the DA, and essentially, this character's going to be important in Season 3. It's going to be a really good episode in Season 3, so remember this character. So, talking to the DA, who is Janet Van Dorn, and essentially she is Harvey Dent's replacement ever since, he was ousted after the whole Two-Face affair. She's the lady who took his place.
Ah, gotcha.
So big payoff on that later. Really good episode. I won't tease you too much on that. Okay, so point being, she's kind of delivering the bad news to Barbara here, is just trying to like pleading for her father, like, hey, you can't believe any of this bunk. And he says, look, the evidence is solid. You know, we have all these accounts and witnesses, and you know, he has like apparently has like a South American bank account where all the things were deposited to, which means we can't give him bail because he's a flight risk because of the South American bank connection. So. And this line's where I'm like going, F you, lady, man. Come on. What are you saying? Where she's saying, you know, maybe you don't know your father as well as you think. Maybe none of us do. It's like, no! What are you doing? No! There's no help whatsoever in the situation.
Dragon, the whole time I was going through this episode, I was thinking about you, like, oh my god, like, young Dragon would have had a heart attack with everything going on in this episode.
So thankfully, and this is where we would build up a lot of. Season 3 is really kind of Bullock, by the way. A lot of really great Bullock.
I noticed there was a lot of good Bullock stuff this episode for sure.
There's a whole Bullock episode this season. We'll get there.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh, it's a really good one, too. I've been trying to sneak it into, well, I don't want to give away too much. Anyway, so, Bullock is kind of to the rescue here, where he's kind of showing up, saving the day here, saying, hey, don't you worry about you. I love that Bullock does not really, you know, shake from his support of Jim Gordon here. He's like always like, you know, he's always kind of defending his friend there, the man he idolizes in the force here. Says, don't you worry about your pop kid. You know, we're putting on a rally to support him. Basically, get him bail, essentially, as we're going to find out. And I wish I could take credit for the idea. And we reveal who had the idea, Tiki.
Gil, right?
Yes, Gil. Gil had the idea, and Gil's kind of trying to swoop in, saying, look, even though it's my job, doesn't mean I'm not on your side.
Yeah, so Gil is essentially going to be, you know, kind of like the main suspect who's helping the murder investigation. You know what I mean? He's stepping in and really becoming a public face of the investigation and really helping Gordon, even though, of course, we all know he's got some shady stuff on the sideline. So that's what I'm saying. I really like the Gil character, even though he's just a one-off Dragon. I really did get invested in this guy.
It's a good performance, too, because he is charismatic. You kind of like the guy, cause, you know, but it's just, oh, man, he gets really rotten once we reveal things.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so, of course, Bullock said, all the top cops will be there, including yours truly. It'll be quite a show, and, of course, Barbara knows quite the showstopper if they can get him cut to the showstopper in the evidence room, trying to help out the cause here, examining the documents that have been kind of used against Jim Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
So outside the jail, Batman swings to a fire escape, and he fires. Oh boy! And this is a fun season 3. Just the start of things here. We get a whole bunch of like new gadgets, new kind of bat gadgets to add to the roster here, like the radio batarang. Oh boy, the radio batarang's cool.
Yeah, and this is another thing. I was like, I just have it in my notes. I bet Dragon loves this gadget. And I like that we use it multiple times in this 2-parter as well. I like that it comes back.
Yeah. So let's see. So he fires the radio batarang into Gordon's cell here from a distance, and basically we have a Batman Gordon meeting scene from a distance, and oh man, it's cool. Just
him looking up at Batman from the fire escape. Really cool imagery there.
Oh yeah, you get really good. Again, it's kind of we keep shaking up how we can just change up the Batman Gordon scene just a little bit, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
And we got the bat signal last season. How can we spice things up any further? Well, he's in jail, so it's it's kind of from a distance. So of course, Gordon's like, I was wondering when you'd get around to me, and Batman has determined. He kind of checks in with Gordon. He's determined that the checks, the receipts, were all basically they're forgeries, but they're perfect forgeries and far beyond the handiwork of Rupert Thorne, which Batman theorizes is the work of a new syndicate that the word is that has been moving in on the city. Like this new crime syndicate that no one really knows who the leader is. It's really new. He's going to check it out. He's going to look into it. And these are the moments that get me in the heartstrings. You're like, do you need anything? He's asking if you can help him out at all. He's like, is there anything you need? And then Gordon has a request. Says, can you check on Barbara and keep her out of this? And it's like, well, Batman abides by this, which leads to kind of the conflict in the creation of Batgirl. That Batman, the whole reason Batgirl's created is because he's trying to keep his promise to Gordon here.
Oh yeah.
Then of course, when Gordon looks outside, Bat exit from a distance.
That's great.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Where are we now?
Batman and Barbara. So now we check in with kind of the follow up to that scene where now Barbara's like asking about, she's pleading with Batman to come to the rally.
Right. And Batman's basically saying like, no, you don't want to get involved with this. It's dangerous. The best thing you could do for your dad is to keep out of it. Essentially.
Yeah, for your own good. The people behind this are dangerous, and also I like the logic here that Batman. Like, why wouldn't Batman go to the rally to support Jim Gordon? He makes a really compelling argument here where he says there's more to this than a simple frame-up, and the rally's just going to waste time while he could be investigating and get Gordon out of the situation. Like, time is of the essence, and time's really of the essence. It's like, getting him bail isn't going to help him in the long run here. Right now, he's isolated, he's in his own little cell. Ideally, if he can get a lead on this pronto and get him just out of Dodge completely versus just, like, a step in the process, which is going to put him in danger even further.
Mm.
So Barbara, she scoffs. So Batman leaves. Again, he's just honoring his friend's request to protect Barbara, which how can you fault the man for it? So Barbara, she scoffs at the whole "don't try this at home" speech. Says, "Well, what you don't know is you being at that rally could decide Dad's freedom. You'll be there. One way or another, you're going to be there." And of course, Barbara has a little trick up her sleeve. We're going to see that momentarily. So I love our base here for our bad guys. So we're not going to be super secretive because here I want to get your read on. So let me set up the location. So we're at his bombed out section. I assume it's like a bombed out section of a nice Gotham neighborhood that was then kind of bombed by crime. That's why you have kind of this half and half building facade, which I love how that looks. I love this as the lair for said villain that's kind of bombed halfway.
Yeah.
Kind of like a natural version of the Batman Forever lair for, as you guessed it, Two-Face, but we keep him in shadow and we build him up. And I like the idea that, again, if you've seen the show, you probably know it's Two-Face. It sounds like Two-Face because it's Richard Mall, buildings half and half, but again, we have visual clues, and if you're just coming into it fresh.
I got to admit, Dragon, I didn't necessarily guess it, and I felt stupid when I didn't guess it, but I don't know, I guess it's just been so long since we've seen Two-Face, especially Two-Face in a really dramatic context. I know we saw him and Almost Got Him, but it's been so long since we've seen him be legitimately threatening that he didn't even cross my mind. I wasn't even registering the frickin' double-sided symbolism of it all.
It's a cool idea though, right? You build up Two-Face, and logically Two-Face, and logically Two-Face makes perfect sense as the guy pulling the strings, given the Rupert Thorne of it all, because Rupert Thorne ruined his life in the animated series. He would know. He would want to take that guy down. He would be the informant. He would have all the knowledge on him,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, a lot of this is, that's what I'm saying, really cool thing, and again, really nicely built in with the, with the set and everything. Like if I weren't just kind of like dialed into the Richard Mall sound, I might not know it either. And again, it's like, I love it. This lair's like a natural version of the Batman.
If anything, I had like a wait, that voice sounds familiar type of moment. You know what I mean? But I didn't quite place it.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah.
Of course, anyways, again, like a less kind of like artsy, like design for like Two-Face had to bring like a decorator for the Batman Forever lair here. It's naturally kind of a fixture of Gotham. I know I keep just talking that, but on the rewatch, it's so cool to me. Like, I didn't see that before. I was like a lair divided in two. That's the thing. Like when I watched it way back when, I didn't pick up on that. So we have a figure in the shadow with kind of covered by a paper. A meeting with one of his goons, Mad Dog. Mad Dog, kind of the big kind of buck-toothed goon.
Yeah, I really like this guy, Dragon. This guy, you know who he reminds me of, and this is going to be a deep pool. He reminds me of one of my own characters, actually, Dragon, believe it or not. You remember in the when we did that Indiana Jones pitch, I had Dave Bautista as the Made Man?
Right, yeah, because I remember I had Dave Bautista as the Minotaur, and you had him as the Made Man.
Yeah. Oh god, we had him in pretty much the same role, didn't we? Kind of like the Indiana Jones muscle man who is kind of like, bothering Indy the whole movie. And that's kind of what I view this guy as. I like that this guy is a consummate threat through the whole two-parter of it all.
Yeah.
He is just kind of like, he has a very memorable face and design, and I don't know, I like when goons, I really do like in the show when goons get a little bit more of the spotlight than usual.
Yeah, it's kind of the Jaws effect, not the sea Jaws. I mean, like Jaws with the metal Jaws.
Oh yeah, totally. It is the Jaws effect, though. I hear you on that. Yeah,
or Odd Job if you want something simple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So point being, we're meeting with him to make sure everything's planned. The point is, we got a big plan in the works here, and of course, this guy's gonna play an integral role. And again, like I love how this episode's so well plotted. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. I feel I might be alone here. I feel this episode's an unsung two-parter. Like all the two-parters, we go to Two-Face.
I really liked it, Dragon. I mean, I won't speak too much on part 2 yet, but I really like this first part setup at least. Like I said, I would describe this setup as like it's really intriguing. Like. Because I'm getting, of course, with the Better Call Saul of it all, Dragon, I'm getting more and more into crime drama, as we get older. I'm kind of drifting away from supervillains and more into real-world crime stuff. And this is very much, even though it has Two-Face in it, it's very much a real-world crime saga in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah. All right. So Batman prepares to go undercover as, and this is a big moment too. Oh my goodness, this is a huge, because the deep cuts Batman thing. Matches Malone. Batman prepares to go undercover as Matches Malone. There's always been a huge misconception, even way back when we did the first season. I think I kind of hinted at this. That everyone always had the misconception that in The Forgotten, when he goes undercover as like the white-haired guy, I believe it's like a John Smith sort of thing. He goes undercover as like a John Smith. Or something, and everyone always kind of reads as, "Hey, it's Matches Malone." No, there's no match. It's not Matches Malone. I know you want, it's that's the thing because we eventually get Matches Malone. Come on.
You gotta wait for him. You gotta be patient.
Yeah. Now here's the really cool. This is the best Untouchables nod right now. So Matches Malone, when he's all dressed up and everything, he looks exactly like. It gets even better. He looks exactly like. Sean Connery's character from The Untouchables, but even better, Sean Connery's character's name in The Untouchables is Jimmy Malone.
Mm-hmm.
So Matches Malone, Jimmy Malone. That was kind of neat. With the hat and everything, he looks just like Sean Connery, and making a matches. That was cool, and it gets the whole Untouchables vibe of the whole thing. Anyway. So Robin is pleading with Batman to, please let me at least wear a transceiver so I can keep tabs on you, so I can monitor you. He says, no, it's the first thing they're going to look for. They're going to pat you down for a wire and everything. It's like, no, it's not going to work. And Dick Grayson says, hey, I got pulled out of a Bogart film festival.
I love that, Dragon. I'm getting more and more attached to this Robin as we go on, honestly.
Oh, he gets better.
I love the idea of Robin having a frickin' Humphrey Bogart film festival that he's geeking out over and that he hates that he's missing. Honestly, I was kind of thinking about that like the whole episode. It's such a great little character piece for him.
I think you're going to really love Dick Grayson and where he goes. I mean, especially the huge arc with the Nightwing. Of course. Going into the next season. That's the biggie. That's the one you're going to be really excited for. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Great Lorne Lester, everybody. All right. So, so point being, this is a really nice moment here. He's showing Batman again, even though he made a very solid argument, well, he shouldn't be at the rally, but you know what? He's showing some support regardless, trying to show a little bit of help here, where Robin's like, I don't want to be helpless here. Give me something I can do. How do you feel about public appearances?
That was a really good idea, I must say. I really like that plan before Batgirl kind of comes and sort of complicates it.
Yeah. And again, so Batman's not all cold logic, he's got a little bit like it. He has Robin there anyway. Why not?
Exactly. All right.
We're at the rally.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on the Bogart Festival. That's just adorable.
It is. Oh,
I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Maltese Falcons aside. All right, so Gil is he's chatting up the rally. He's rallying up the crowds here. Where also we have this fun gag seeing Bullock in a suit, which is always kind of fun.
Oh my God, I love Bullock. Yeah, just in this episode in general, Bullock is kind of on fire, and apparently he gets even better. So that's great.
He does. Believe me, he does. Yes. Again, I can't wait for you to get to that Bullock episode. It's going to be towards the end, though. You have to wait for it.
I know which one you're talking about, I assume.
Oh, yeah. It's the one you're thinking of. That's what I'm saying. That's really good anyway. So, point being, we're talking about the rally. Essentially, the whole point of the rally is to get Gordon bail. Convince the judge and, give him bail. He has a standing in the community. Let's grant him bail. He absolutely deserves bail. Don't listen to any of this rot. So, before Robin swoops in to make his little appearance, kind of a la 60s Batman.
Right. That's exactly. It was kind of like a mix of 60s Batman and then the Hero Day thing from Spider-Man 3.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna swoop in and make an entrance.
So
Yeah, as he's doing that, another mysterious, like seemingly Batman swoops down, and Robin's just like, Bruce.
Yeah, Batman beats him to it, but not Bruce.
Right, and of course, Robin being very surprised, like, what's going on here? Who is this? Who is this person?
So,
all right.
Batman strikes a pose, just kind of shows the crowd, hey, I'm Batman.
I really do like that, Barbara is channeling Batman quite well with the poses and everything. It is what I imagine Batman would do in this sort of situation. Just kind of using his symbol for good.
Certainly, but again, also the same line of like, this Batman, I was saw like within one of the not so good episodes of the animated series in Moon of the Wolf, not comfortable with the whole like accepting personal checks and everything for like charity and stuff. He's just not crazy about doing like the public-y stuff. But again, there's like if Ben was forced to, it would be something like this, like make a brief appearance, a little show, then go off. But that's
what I'm saying. Like I said, it's literally using the iconography of Batman.
Yeah. And again, perfect segue within, kind of Barbara doing this, where again she would be able to express something Batman himself be uncomfortable with doing. So it's kind of like a perfect marriage in that sense, I guess, Oh. All right. So anyway, so of course, like Bullock saying "grandstand" and "psycho," just. So the crowd, they eat it up. They think, oh, Gordon must be innocent. The Batman's here. Like, of course, yeah, he's got to be innocent. So they're eating it up. The thing's working wonders, just as Barbara had hoped. She jumps on a few rooftops down to the alley, and we reveal it's Barbara in kind of a makeshift Batman costume. And she's removing the lifts and like the shoulder pads that cast the silhouette of it all. And
I know where I am.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the crowd goes wild. The crowd's going wild. Victory, a short episode. We can all go home now. Wrong-o. So it's not a Spectrum episode without an exciting car sequence when you really think about it. Look at Phantasm, look at Robin's Reckoning Part 1, where we have like Batman jumping on the car. You need an exciting car sequence in a Spectrum episode.
And I love how this car sequence really is, like I said, it all ties together within the two-parter. This is, if Gordon being arrested was one of the catalysts, this is another big catalyst in this whole story. And I like all the puzzle pieces that are kind of coming into place.
Absolutely. All right, so we have these. We have our two henchmen here. You kind of basically doing a drive-by shooting, attempted drive-by shooting with Tommy guns. Gil's ducking. That's gonna be a little plot point later on there. And again, everyone's ducking at the moment. Then our proto Batgirl. Again, not in the full Batgirl yet, but again, proto Batgirl is kind of stage 2 versus like where she was with Heart of Steel. So, Proto Batgirl springs into action. She drops the banner on him, which leads him to crash the car. Now this bit always bugged me. It's kind of odd that Robin chases after the Batgirl before the armed gunman.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do admit that is a little bit of plot convenience, maybe. I'll
admit, in the two-parter, there is a little bit of an effect that you may notice, where it's that to make Batgirl, to really focus on Batgirl, we kind of have to take maybe a few pot shots at Robin here and there, and it's like not in an insulting way, but we kind of have to make him a little gullible or just a little bit like he has to do something for the plot like this. So it's
sure,
it's kind of a necessary evil, and they kind of dispel as it goes on. But it's it's kind of, I guess, necessary evil perhaps. Anyway, it's a small thing, so it doesn't really matter. Point being, like he has to rip the back of the mask off, so he had the hair pop out. That's the main reason.
But you know what? That's cool. I feel like that is a nice kind of like a natural way iconography to develop.
And you're right. I do like the hair push. I'm just saying you should have gone for the gunman, then do that. But you're right.
Yeah, no. I hear you. I'm just saying, I'm taking the good with the bad here.
You're right. Yeah, you're correct. So Summer Gleason, importantly, she catches the money shot of the iconography. Batman, a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
heresy.
Then the Tommy gun comes out, and it looks like, oh god, she's a goner. And then this is where we get a lot of your Stormtrooper effect, I imagine.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. Yes.
I blame this mostly on the commercial break, and they have to build in the commercial breaks in the episode where it's.
Right.
I feel in the
You
moment.
literally see him twice.
Yeah, I feel if we chopped out a few pieces of this, it would have been. Again, it's the idea, though. Again, we can't. Obviously, they have to miss if they're using a Tommy gun, otherwise, she'd be dead. And there's no second part of the episode. But she jumps around. They hit the spotlights, and might be a little more kinetic. We didn't have act break, and back, and they're shooting again. They're missing. So the point being, she dodges the gunfire. Robin comes in for the save with the batarangs. Hey boys, the ladies with me, gents. So he then calls her out on being nuts, which again, she is kind of nuts for doing this, because again, she's not really, has no gadgets to speak of, but importantly, she's doing something to make a difference, which is good. And again, in the moment, she has good instincts, police commissioner's daughter, heart's in the right place, but still, taking an armed gunman in a car, kind of nuts. All right. So the two of them kind of team up in the moment here, and they're both giving chase to the gunman. They split up. Robin goes after one, and Batgirl goes after the big one. And Batgirl chases one down alley. And we have an awesome bit here, maybe all a little nod to Jack Kirby, Captain America, perhaps. She takes the trash can lid and tosses it at the large goon, knocking him on his butt. And she unmasks him, and it's Mad Dog, the bucktooth henchman, that guy.
Yeah, like I said, I love how this guy, he's got an instantly recognizable face. He's very, I don't want to say iconic, but, he very much kind of weaves his way through the episode.
Yeah. Again, memorable. And again, this is what I'm talking about. This is the storytelling. This is why we got to laud this episode over a two-parter. Again, nothing against this two-part. It's just I feel this two-part far superior to Heart of Steel.
Oh, I would agree with that.
I'm saying, not a bad episode, but I'm just saying, compared to the two, I love the visual storytelling here, where we're treating the audience with a lot of respect here. Okay, you the audience, are going to remember this guy's face, and when she looks for it later, you get it. You don't need really, a lot of explanation there. A lot of, you don't need the guy's name dropped necessarily. I know his name from the credits, essentially. That's the only reason I know this guy's name. But again, memorable guy's face. Alright, so anyways, the thug, the Mad Dog here, he kicks Batgirl into the trash, and he gets away. Batgirl, she pulls her first bat exit as Robin.
Yes, that's great. Seriously,
if you really like...
I also like how she's kind of, dodging the police, too, right off the bat. She's kind of got a knack for this stuff.
That she does. Tiki, if you really like this episode, I tell you, there is a story that... Batgirl had a whole mini-series called Batgirl Year One, which is excellent. It's fantastic. See, for a while they gave Robin, Batgirl, and Nightwing kind of a Year One story, which is all really good. And again, you can find it on DC Universe and vice versa, and I'm sure on Amazon somewhere. It's really good. Actually, there's a motion comic of it on YouTube, I believe. If you can find the Batgirl Year One, and people have talked about making it into an animated movie for years. Nothing's ever come from it, but it's. Good stuff, and probably a little bit inspired by this, but in part.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. So after all the craziness there, after the rally, Dick and Alfred, they're kind of reviewing they recorded the news footage and the news coverage of the rally shooting, and Alfred's asking, "Are we expanding the membership in our little crime fighting club?"
Oh, Alfred, you have no idea.
Then here's one of your.
I'm just saying, in the future, with the oh boy, the Damian Waynes of the World Dragon, they're coming eventually.
Oh, that they are.
Anyways, sorry, go ahead.
So then we have one of your favorite moments, which is also one of the great Robin moments in the whole series. Little Robin gets this moment here where he catches a clue within the tape, where he basically rewinds it and slows it down. And he sees the drive-by shooting. When you slow it down, you realize Gil ducked before the rest of them, as if he ducked before he saw the guns.
Yeah, he was pretty much tipped off to the fact that the guns would be there in the first place.
It's really cool. If you go back in the episode, it does time out exactly like this, but at regular speed too, which is really cool. He was ducking way before the guns come out. So Robin knows something's amiss there. He has kind of a new lead going on. All right.
Yep.
So let's see.
Sorry, Dragon, I'm kind of... Oh, God. My coat rack decided to fall down on me. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's see. So point being, Robin now has a clue. Mason's ducked for the gunfire, knew it was coming, or quote the Dark. He knew it was coming.
Oh God, a lot of Dark Knight going on in this episode.
There is. One of my favorite, the underrated Jim Gordon quote. They knew we were coming.
Oh God. I gotta say, Dark Knight, as much as I love it, and as much as I love, Gary Oldman, Gary Oldman's British accent definitely slips through a lot in that movie.
I don't know.
It slips through. It slips through, man. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it kind of adds a layer of charm to the performance. Anyways.
All right, let's see. So, meanwhile, this is a great cut. This is a great gag here, a great Bullock moment. So Bullock is like scoffing at the headline. Batgirl, sheesh. What's next? What's next?
But it also just kind of cuts from a newspaper clipping. Who is Batgirl? Kind of reminds me of that classic Raimi Spider-Man cut. Who is Spider-Man? He's a menace.
That's a good comparison. Yeah. So Bullock is just scoffing at what's next, Weasel Woman, which is a great line. So then he lowers the paper and we reveal Barbara there. And I gotta tell you, this is the thing that really hits me on rewatch. I completely forgot about these little bits here and there. Like there's so many cutesy little bits that they're kind of
the Montoya thing.
Yeah, these charming little moments where like Bullock gets all kind of like all shucks here for a moment, like like the kid caught me just kind of ranting and raving. He's like just like he's laughing it off, and Montoya's like laughing at Bullock's expense for a bit there, and as they go off, Montoya waves at Barbara, and it's such a cute bit.
That's adorable. It really is. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is why I love Montoya. He's a little bit. She's a friendly, well defined character, and she's just like going off there, and just like Barbara's been to the police station. She's kind of like an honorary family member to the GCPD, and it's like they're all a little familiar with Barbara, a kid who hung around like, growing up, perhaps. And nice little bit there. Barbara is there not just to check in with old friends, more accurately to kind of check the records of the GCPD and kind of match the thug that she unmasked. And she gets a match. It's Mad Dog.
Yeah.
So where does she go next?
She goes to Gil, straight to Gil, and with the information about the guys who were shooting at him, and then come to find out Mad Dog is actually in the house with Gil.
It is a great moment too. Just like the whole you're so in the moment there, and Melissa Gilbert is really good in the scene. I've always kind of leaned a little bit more towards Tara Strong. Melissa Gilbert is like she only played Batgirl a number of times, but she was good. And a little fun fact.
I like her.
Little fun fact about Melissa Gilbert: she became a Screen Actor Guild president.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. She was up against Valerie Harper, who I believe is no longer with us. But that's the thing. She ran against her and she won. It was really cool. Anyway, point being, nice little moment later, she says, I was just coming to check on you. I love how like Gil excuses Mad Dog because he wants to hook up with his lady friend. It's like
Mad Dog's just like, oh yeah, don't forget about the business meeting, Gil. I'll see you there.
Yes. I know he's kicked that lady in the head earlier, just having no idea. Anyway, so she comes up with like kind of an on-the-fly excuse. I was just come over to check on you after the shooting and everything. I want to make sure you're okay. Oh yeah, sure. You want to stay for a drink again? Kind of going into the whole setup of Jim Gordon saying, "Oh, you two kids should get together," but now with that twist.
Oh man, by the way.
Yeah. So then now she's, oh no, I gotta go. I was on my way to see Dad, but I'll catch you again. Which that's nice. Yeah, I'll catch you again.
Nice choice of words. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. While at Gotham Oil.
Yeah, we're at the Stack Deck, this little kind of bar. I believe.
Yeah. It's right by we see the Gotham Oil exterior. My bad.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, we see Matches Malone. We see Matches Malone playing a game of pool while kind of like listening in on a conversation that's going on a phone booth.
Not just listening in; he's reading his lips, which is awesome.
Exactly.
And this is what I love. I want to highlight this. One of the great things Batman Answers does constantly is I love that we dedicate time to these little moments. We let the scenes breathe, where you see him taking in the lip reading and following him to the hideout. Like we take moments instead of just like cut to this, cut to that. Really cool. Right. So, All right, so now Stack Deck, he's reading the lips. He now knows that okay, so this guy's involved based on what he's saying here, and Matches trails him to the hideout. He follows him back to the hideout, knowing he's mentioning the events that are just going to happen. This guy's connected to the big boss. Oh, Greg Benson. He does the voice of. You're gonna really love this. He does the voice of Mad Dog, and he actually took over for Dawes Butler. The voice of Yogi Bear and Snagglepuss. When Dawes Butler passed away, Mad Dog here voiced those characters for the cartoons.
That's small world.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to the action. So Matches, he uses a grappling gun to sneak in, through the window, kind of our awesome kind of Two-Face lair here. He climbs a Batman 66 style too, which is also really a nice nod there. Because our Batgirl is again very much stems from the 66 series, and that's why we might have a few old Batman 60s nods here and there, where again it's like she's created for that show and brought into the comics, so it's kind of a little nod there. Mm-hmm. So he climbs the window, and of course this is animated so well here. Like the window is booby trapped, and like booby trapped really clear. Like when you open the window, you're electrified by the top of it, and like he's knocked out.
Yeah, so that's one of the few times where we actually see Bruce Wayne in kind of a perilous situation there.
Yeah, so now we have the real star, the real returning star of the whole thing. You think we're talking about a certain villain returning, folks, Pshaw. We're talking about the real star who's coming back from Heart of Steel, Whoopi!
Oh, God. Right.
Yeah, it's Whoopi. Barbara's talking things over with Whoopi, just kind of voicing her thoughts to her little adorable little pet bear.
I love the iconography of the bat suit with the with the hole in it for the hair.
Yeah, it's nice. So Barbara's kind of like airing out her dilemma, like, what can I do? I can't trust anybody. I can't trust Gil. I got nobody. Batman's not around, and she looks at the cowl and she's flicking it, and she sees that hole, like you said. She gets an idea, a justful ideal.
We don't have to go through the Grinch thing every time the word idea comes up, Dragon.
Well, okay, well, nice of you to tell me that now, but okay.
I'm just saying.
After all the times, every time we get an idea thing, you're the one who's always jamming in the Grinch thing. I thought, it doesn't matter, you're right. Okay. Okay, so Matches gets slapped awake, and he's on his feet, and he gives his cover story. He's like a two-bit hood looking for some work, and now goes Conroy doing this great, and Conroy doing his undercover voice, which is great.
Great voice, yeah.
Doing some work, just looking for some.
God, I must say, I love the animation of Bruce Wayne with a mustache and kind of like. Not only is he kind of physically changed himself, but just kind of like the mannerisms are also changed. It's really convincing, kind of deep cover with Bruce Wayne there.
Oh yeah. So then the man in the shadows says, "You heard right. We even double the take, assuming I let you live." So he flips a coin, and then we reveal as he steps out of the shadows, it's Two-Face, and of course, like Batman's just like, just like, oh god, it's Two-Face.
Yeah, I love how dramatic of a personal thing this is for Batman. I mean, we don't really linger on it, but Batman and him do have history with each other.
That they do, and there's also going to be another really good Two-Face episode coming down the line this season, which is going to be it's going to be everything you ever wanted from kind of the fallout of the Two-Face two-parter, Tiki, trust me. But this is so basically, Two-Face is there and say, I love that Two-Face can kind of sense that it's Batman, but he just can't put his finger on it. He says, I haven't heard about you, Malone, but there's something about you I don't like. I trust my hunches. It's kind of like second sight, which, oh god, I love that. We see like the scarred up side of his face when he's talking about second sight. So basically, it gives him the whole spiel. It's up to the coin, which again, classic Two-Face here. We have a really great money shot for Two-Face here as he holds the coin up to his face. It looks really good. Bad heads, you're a goner, and good heads, you get to join the gang. And of course, dramatically interesting storytelling necessitates bad heads comes up, because otherwise, like, okay, it could be like an undercover telltale story, like
that would be a really lame cliffhanger where it's like, oh, good heads, okay, you're free to go, to be continued.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's really cool, because if you're like sucked into it like I was back then, it's like, oh god, please. Well, you're not really realizing the episode's almost over. It's like, okay, please, good heads, and bad heads. What do you know?
And Dragon, I like how in the two-parter, we'll get to it, but I like how we don't reveal we don't go back to this storyline right away in part 2.
Yeah, you're right. We don't.
I like that we kind of keep the anticipation up a little bit. All right.
And this bit always hurts too when Malone gets knocked out by the butt of the gun. It's like, ow, man, because the way they animate this, like, goes right to his face in camera. It's like, oh man, that really hurts. So then we have kind of our little last kind of big cliffhangery part here, where we bring in the Batgirl theme, which is really, I love the Batgirl theme we bring into this episode. Dun, 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 dun. It's a takeoff of the Robin theme from Robin's Reckoning, but again, it's more styled to Batgirl. It's like a new theme. It's cool. So she's suiting up, she's getting her own gadgets like her binoculars. Again, the low-tech gadgets, the binoculars. And there's a classic thing with Batgirl, and it's also in the Batgirl Year One story they did later, where it's like, hey, she's more homespun before she's officially teamed up with Batman, which doesn't happen until like the 4th season. You know, she's not there until... So she's not in the know quite yet. You know, she's has her own makeshift grappling hook. The binoculars, the whole spiel there. And we have the reveal of her stepping into with the costume and everything. Batman can't help me find. Let's see what Batgirl can do.
Yeah, triumphant music swells, to be continued, and we're done. All right, Dragon. So of course, next one's going to be the continuation of it. So let's quickly go through final thoughts. Final thoughts from me. Like I said, like I keep saying, I really like this one. I like how many moving parts there are. I like how, it's like we get a little bit of Rupert Thorne. We get some, of this new Gil character who's intriguing in his own right. And then we see that Harvey Dent's pulling the strings behind it all. So I really like how there's so many chess pieces in the air going into the second part of this. I really do think that it's a very well thought out crime drama in that regard. And not only that, but it's just a damn good Batgirl origin story. I feel like the iconography with her is very natural, and the origin of her kind of wanting to just kind of show off the ideals of Batman and then kind of getting brought into the fight. Very well done, very satisfying. So overall, I really like this episode.
Yeah, final thoughts for me, keep it simple. For a two-parter that gets lost in the shuffle, this is a very solid story. It's a really underrated episode, in that it's really good. It nails it, does really well with the animation, the storytelling. It's absolutely earned that Batgirl, we absolutely earned kind of Batgirl finally appearing in the show without feeling like we're pandering. Like, well, in the 60s show in the 3rd season they introduced Batgirl, we should do it here too. It doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like we're starting the season off right. What's kind of a new idea we can bring to the fray? Something we kind of thread the needle with in season 2 with Barbara Gordon. Let's do this. Let's shake things up. This episode very much feels like we're shaking up the status quo a little bit. With we're jailing Rupert Thorne, at least for a spell, for a while. And bringing a new character and bringing back Two-Face in kind of a way that matters. And it's a little more. I feel part 1 is a little more, as a tease up a little bit of part 2. I think part 1's a little more artful and kind of trusting of the audience versus kind of the traditional kind of climax of part 2, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to getting to part 2. It's just part 1 just has a little bit more kind of that, as you said, kind of the Bobby Fischer chess match of it all. It's got a little bit of the style. It's got a really good setup. It's so odd. Sometimes
it's also got a lot of atmosphere to it too, like
yes,
you said.
That's the atmosphere's. That's really good. It's that traditionally in the DCAU, usually part 2 gets a lot of the love, but in the animated series' case, in certain exceptions, part 1 just has a lot of the magic. They really loved gilding the lily with the setup, with like your Two-Face part 1, your Robin's Reckoning, and this as well. Of course, it's a lot of really good examples. Point being, really solid episode. Part 1 is very, very artful, really good stuff there. Looking forward to part 2. Okay.
All right, Doja, Dragon.
A new bat in Gotham's Belfry. A deputy commissioner's corruption. A coin flip with weighty consequence. Can Batgirl even the odds against Two-Face? Will a daughter's love for her father save the day? Tune in next time and find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Shadow of the Bat, Part 2.
Whoopee returns.